We are delighted that you have joined us this afternoon. We understand that we have over 700 people who have registered to attend this event. So we know that it's a topic that's very interesting, and people are really wanting to learn more about nursing and compassionate care in the age of artificial intelligence. We have a superb program lined up for you. I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. But before I do that, I'm just going to have to go through a few housekeeping items, and then we'll get right into the program. Right off the outset, we wish to acknowledge that the Office of RNAO and AMS Healthcare are located on the traditional indigenous territory of the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We also acknowledge that the participants in today's symposium are located in other traditional lands across Ontario and across the nation of Canada. We encourage all of our participants to freely post activities from today's symposium on the social media platforms using #NursingAndAI. For optimal viewing, we also would ask that you keep your microphones off, you keep your videos off, and you change your video settings to, sorry, I just can't see that slide there. There's a pop up in the middle, I can't see that. To hide non-video participants, excuse me. And how you do that is you go to the stop video icon at the bottom left of your screen, and you'll see an up arrow. Click on that up arrow, and then you will see the video setting options. Scroll down on that window that pops up, scroll down to the subheading meeting, and you will see the option to hide non-video participants. And if you can just check that, that would be great. So as I said earlier, we have an amazing program that's lined up for you. In a few minutes, you're going to be hearing from Doris Grinspan, who is the CEO of RNAO, and Gail Peach, who is the CEO of AMS Healthcare. They're going to be bringing us some opening remarks and talking about a report which bears the same name as this symposium, and that which forms the foundation for this symposium that was released earlier today. Following that, we're going to have our keynote address by Dr. Tracy Risling, who is joining us all the way from Saskatchewan, and she's going to be talking about the emerging future of nursing and artificial intelligence. Then you will have an opportunity to attend one of the concurrent sessions, and one focuses on nursing and AI as it pertains to research and co-design. Another focuses on AI and nursing practice. And the third focuses on nursing and AI as it relates to nursing education. Following that, we're going to come back together in our main meeting room, and we will have a panel presentation that focuses on inspiring and supporting nursing leadership in the integration of AI in clinical practice. And then we're going to end our time together with a really exciting panel presentation with speakers from across the province, which is really going to serve as a call to action. And then Gail and Doris will provide us with some closing remarks. Next slide, please. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to Doris and Gail to provide us with their opening remarks. I think, Gail, you'll be going first.
Good afternoon, and I would like to really welcome all of the nurses from across Canada who really, by joining this symposium, really truly understand the relevancy and importance of this symposium, and especially this report. And I certainly want to thank those individuals who really took the lead. There was a pan-Canadian panel put together, but it was co-chaired by Stacy and also Richard Booth. And so let me first tell you why AMS really first initially approached Doris and RNAO to be involved in this initiative. RNAO has for many, many years really had a strong voice for nurses and nursing. And here at AMS, we, a few years ago, determined that there was a critical issue that needed to be addressed right across Canada. And that issue was the impact of artificial intelligence, digital technology, and the need to ensure that compassionate care would be enhanced and would be delivered to patients across Canada. Our concern was that because technology was the shiny bright toy, that people would forget and the essence of what is patient care, and that is compassion. And in today's world, and especially as we experience the pandemic with COVID-19, more and more we become to understand that yes, technology is important, but the compassion that we have to each other, to our patients and families and caregivers is of the utmost importance. And AMS Healthcare has been leading this charge across the country to ensure that the compassion resonates and is incorporated and is further initiated across the continuum. And so when we look to the future, that we see very clearly that nursing plays a very critical role in ensuring compassionate healthcare continues to thrive. Nurses are the essential caregivers in providing healthcare, and caring is a fundamental to nursing practice, and compassion is an essential component in nursing. Nurses need to spearhead the adoption of healthcare technology to ensure it enriches compassionate care for patients. We know very clearly, as we have recently experienced the pandemic, and as we currently are continuing to experience the pandemic, that it is having a significant impact on patients and caregivers. We know that there are inequities in access. There are marginalized populations that are not receiving and cannot receive appropriate care, that we have mental health issues that are increasing daily as we experience the challenges of COVID. So when Doris and I one day had a lunch, we decided that we really needed to address this issue. And RNAO has had a long-standing relationship of addressing critical issues similar to the mission of AMS. And so we commissioned, AMS commissioned, that a study be done to look at the impact of nursing and compassionate care in the age of technology. I can assure you, having been intimately involved with working and developing this report, that it really is an important report. It is a call to action for the nursing community to understand their future engagement and understand their future roles and responsibility, and to articulate clearly to patients and caregivers and families that nursing will be the essential component of delivering care into the future. With that, I know that my colleague Doris will now address you, and then we will move into the exciting program that has been developed to highlight the recommendations and the key issues and leadership that will be required to move into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail, and what a privilege and a pleasure. First of all, to be accompanied by Gail. I have a huge degree of respect for the many, many decades of leadership that Gail has provided to the nursing community, both at home and elsewhere. So that's number one. So when Gail said, let's have lunch, I know those lunch will be important lunches where we will end up with some provocative idea. And it's fitting, Gail, that this comes today, because today I received yet the best title in the world by Rick Glacier in a forum in this morning that said the most provocative leader in the country. So that's good. This is what we absolutely need to do, colleagues. There are those that think that artificial intelligence, health technologies, only can be seen as a threatening idea in nursing, that they will deprive us from the care that people are expecting from us in terms of person-centered, compassionate care and clinical expertise. We are here to tell you that we can choose that approach, or we can choose a different approach, which is to embrace these technologies, to shape these technologies, to be part of it, not on the sidelines, and to drive this in the go forward. Let me tell you a couple of facts. In the report, you will see, you will get the impression that you read in the report that Canada is ahead of the game, that we are putting lots of investments. Let me tell you that Canada, actually within the OECD, is the country that is lagging the most in the use of virtual health and health technologies that can assist on that. So with that in mind, nursing has a unique opportunities, because Canada, as well as Ontario, are putting, I would say, shy funding still, in my view, but are beginning to put funding into this sphere, and nurses and nursing cannot stay behind. We have an opportunity to lead with courage, with keep the values anchored, have the evidence that RNAO so well always has, and ask the tough questions. Which health technologies are powered by artificial intelligence are those health technologies that will open access and create health equity versus deepening inequities? Are those technologies that will protect and enhance, in fact, person-centered, family-centered, compassionate care? That's what we are after with AMS and with RNAO, and this is why our partnership is only the beginning of a journey. Today, for us, the report is to launch the report. You will hear very important conversations, but this is only the beginning of the journey. I want to add my thanks to not only Gail and Jocelyn at AMS, also Stacy and Richard for the tremendous leadership in leading the panel. We are thrilled about that. I also want to give a very, very special shout to Rita and the team at RNAO that includes Kimberly Kersey, Mary and Zich, and many others for working with us to review the report. We had intense reviews of the report. We wanted to make sure that the report is not interpreted as replacing nurses, but actually as enhancing our work, both clinically and in the sphere of family-centered, compassionate care. That's what we are after, and the time for us is to engage now. We are thrilled that already 300 people, over 300 people actually joined the webinar. We know, Gail, I mentioned before that we have people from across Canada. We have also people from the US, because yesterday I shared with the Academy, with American Academy. So we are setting a beginning for everybody around the world, because I'm not aware of a report like this in the world. So Stacy and Richard and the panel take pride on that. Let's have meaningful, provocative, important conversations today. And then let's keep the journey going because the journey needs to continue. Thank you very much.
So this is a report. It's called Nursing and Compassionate Care in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, Engaging the Emerging Future, because we know the future is here. And you can access that at www.rnao.ca. And at this time, it is my delight and honor to introduce to you today our keynote speaker, who is one of our co-chairs for the steering committee that worked tirelessly on the report and on developing this symposium. And she is none other than Dr. Tracy Risling. Dr. Risling is one of the co-chairs of the steering committee. She provided leadership for the report. That is the focus for this keynote address. She's the interim associate dean for research and graduate studies and an associate professor in the College of Nursing at the University of Saskatchewan. Dr. Risling is also the president-elect of the Canadian Nursing Informatics Association. Her patient-oriented program of health informatics research includes studies on AI, social media, co-design, and patient access and use of electronic health records. Dr. Risling explores how health technologies, in particular those that provide data access, influence patient empowerment and engagement. She is also a passionate advocate for increased nursing engagement in the development and deployment of digital solutions, including AI. Her most recent work incorporates an examination of digital determinants of health in partnership with diverse patient groups, exploring potential barriers to a more inclusive digital health future. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Risling. Her keynote address has been pre-recorded for quality assurance. Following the video, Dr. Risling will join us in person to answer questions.
For the introduction. Thanks so much. It's nice that I could take the technology glitch on right off the start. So if you missed me saying that I'm excited to be here, I really am honored to be a part of this great event today. And I know we're going to have a really thought-provoking and exciting few hours. And what I was saying, and I still need to say, is that I really think we need to take some time to get grounded, reflecting on some of the key contextual elements that have helped shape where we are, as well as reviewing some essential terminology that I think we need to get ready to really engage with the report, along with all of the great discussion topics and the panel that will follow. Because ultimately, we need to take all that we hear and learn today and get going, creating some personal action plans that each of us can use to contribute our expertise to nursing's future. Let's do this. Always worthwhile when talking technology to take a moment and reflect on, say, what the last decade or so has brought. So, and today I think we have the added benefit of just taking a break from 2020 for a minute. So come with me, everyone. Let's go back to 2010 and realize that just 10 years ago, as the decade began, no one had heard of an iPad. That's right. 2010 was the year that Steve Jobs himself introduced the tablet to the world. That device and others like it have had a significant impact across many industries, including health, education, and for many of us in our daily lives. It really represented another turning point, a moment providing significant computational power and portability, and a different usability than the smartphones of the day were providing. Now let's come back to 2020. Sorry, that respite was a little brief. Today, after several further generations of development, that portability in both tablets and smartphones connects more people than ever before to increasingly complex and customizable digital tools, including hundreds of health solutions like Wobot. Wobot is an AI-driven, fully automated conversational agent used to deliver cognitive behavioral therapy. And this little chatbot is just one of many digital health tools that are using AI or subsets of the technology to provide self-care supports. Now you may be thinking, who would choose to engage with a bot to support their self-care mental health? How effective can this really be? Clinical trial effective, as it turns out. And Woebot is exchanging upwards of 4.7 million messages per week with folks looking for supports from everything from anxiety to depression, even substance abuse. So let's just think about the decade that we're in now. Because the last one, we went from no iPad to tablets and smartphones running functional chatbot self-care supports. So the last 10 years was quite a technological trip, which makes us really wonder what this decade will bring. Of course, we don't have a crystal ball, but it's not like we can't see a glimpse or at least anticipate what's coming. MIT in the United States hosting their massive MTech event this week online, of course, which is almost actually kind of as good as a crystal ball. And what you see at MTech this week is AI everywhere. It's across every spectrum of industry presentation, debate, and discussion. And that brings me to a key takeaway for you today, which is not just to acknowledge that AI is coming to disrupt healthcare, but to recognize that it's already here. So what we really need to do is focus, understand, and position nursing for this further evolution, for the application of this technology into healthcare systems, where, make no mistake, it will change aspects of our practice, administration, education, and research. And in the report released to you, you can see this reach of application and come to appreciate the massive investment that Canada, along with countries around the world, are making in this emerging future. But here's takeaway number 2. And that is the realization that what this AI future will not do is change what makes us nurses. Along with the realization that technology, even powered by AI, is not a replacement for the world's largest healthcare workforce. Although it does seem that our historical experience as mediators of technology will continue to be an important asset, especially as other significant events shape our world. Let me be brief. I know the COVID fatigue is real. However, on the technology side of things, the arrival of this virus did more to accelerate the advancement of digital health solutions than years of advocacy and research. And as someone invested in those years, I will say we try not to dwell on it, but the fact remains that the pandemic, it necessitated the rapid expansion of virtual care, telehealth, and other tech solutions to connect patients and practitioners. And because of that, we've never been closer to this moment, the realization that digital health is health, not a subset or a specialty, but a core aspect of how we all practice. Now, I know that this is a favorite take for debate, so I think we'll just leave this here for a moment. Let's use the hashtags and continue the conversation, but I do want to move forward. But I actually can't move any further forward without this other critically important stop. And that is to take a moment for everyone to realize that when we talk about a digital world or digital health being health, we can never lose sight of the realities of global connectivity and access. And here's a snapshot from January 2020. On the plus side, this was the year that for the first time ever, internet use passed the 50% mark. However, it is just past the 50% mark. You can see we do a lot better in terms of reach with mobile phone use. The other thing I want to leave us with before we move past this point is that just because this is a global snapshot, it would be a mistake to think that this is an issue only in places other than Canada. It is. Connectivity, reliable access is an issue in every province and territory in Canada and nurses need to think about digital determinants of health and capacity as an essential focus as we move forward on this journey. Because this emerging future with all of its digital innovation has to be an opportunity to correct issues of equity and division that persist in our healthcare systems, not create the risk of amplifying them. Whew, okay, context, check. Let's move on to some terminology. Now, there is a handy glossary right there in your report, page 41, I believe, but there's a couple of other terms I want to throw at you as well. Before we even get to artificial intelligence, we need to talk about what drives this technology. So let me back it up to data, big data to be precise. Now, this is another topic that people love to debate on. So I just went with the standard Oxford Dictionary definition here. When I say big data, I mean extremely large data sets. In fact, so large that they have to be analyzed computationally. And that's where the magic happens, because when analysis is done, it reveals patterns, trends, and associations, especially relating to human behavior, or in our case, in healthcare, disease patterns, outcomes, which are incredibly useful. The second key aspect building towards AI is algorithms. You may be super familiar with this term because, of course, it's not just used in computers. An algorithm as a standard process or set of rules to be followed in problem solving reaches across a whole host of industry and application. But here we're talking about computers using algorithms, which brings us to machine learning, which is a type of artificial intelligence that takes those algorithms and uses it to drive learning, data interpretation, and outputs. Now, once you've got all these terms wrestled, you can actually realize that they sit together in a nice little stack, right? Where deep learning, don't really need to talk about that today, is a subset of machine learning, which then sits within that broader umbrella of artificial intelligence, okay? So it does all fit together in a kind of a nice, neat package. And then finally, we get there to artificial intelligence. And really, as defined in the report, it's a collection of techniques used to teach computers to simulate human learning, reasoning, communication, and decision-making. We also use AIHT or AIHTS in the report, talking about artificially intelligent health technologies, essentially digital health solutions that are powered by AI. Now, before we get out of this section, I really do need to have all of us take a moment and also add the term embodied AI to our terminology know-how. It refers to biological-like robots that are, in essence, embodied or situated artificial systems. And this is how these systems learn. They actually physically interact with their environment. But here is another takeaway, taking the understanding of embodied AI and realizing that AI does not mean robots. Well, at least it doesn't only mean robots. Certainly embodied AI is a part of this field, but there are many, many AI-driven systems that are not embodied and will have really far-reaching impacts in health and nursing. And you can start to get a sense of this as you go through the report and start to see all of the different areas in which this technology is being applied. Okay, I feel like we're together on this critical point, so let's keep rolling. Because I am feeling so ready to take a look at this report. As I said, I'm so pleased to be a part of the launch of this work today. And as has been noted in the introductions, it really is the result of months of effort by many, many folks. And you have all the details of those amazing groups of people in the document. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to share a special thank you to the project team, the steering committee, and other report contributors. And of course, to our project sponsors, the RNAO and AMS Healthcare, for making it all possible. The report is a call for nurses to engage in an emerging future, to get ready to prepare nurses and nursing students to leverage artificially intelligent healthcare technologies to augment patient experience, all the while ensuring the delivery of compassionate care, and to facilitate the successful interface of these technologies within the nursing profession. Kind of a big job, not gonna lie. There's a few challenges, and very briefly, we're gonna take a quick look at these 4 areas, because this isn't a job we can avoid, and it's not a job we can just relegate off the side to our nursing informatics colleagues. There are fundamental shifts to healthcare delivery that in many instances are already here or arriving, with more on the way, and all nurses have a role to play as we navigate the complexities of compassionate care in a digital age. Let's hop through these. Virtual care versus relational care, compassionate care. Relationships are the heart of nursing. Human connection, therapeutic conversation, touch, empathy. This report does an excellent job providing a look at the humanist view of technology in nursing, as does this work by Bernard and Sandalowski from 2000. It's a favorite of mine, where the authors reflect on the long-standing roles of nurses as a bridge spanning the divide between technology and humane healthcare. And while Bernard and Sandalowski reflect on the challenges of mediating what some see as irreconcilable or disparate forces, there are also those, also noted in the report, who see a nursing future with technology as an avenue for advancing compassionate care in new ways, of harnessing technology to create more or even new moments of connection, and in those moments, promoting the delivery of compassion and relational care that is who we are as nurses. This sentiment is actually echoed in a book by Eric Topol, released in 2019, called Deep Medicine. It's an easy read if you haven't checked it out and you have an interest in artificial intelligence making healthcare human again. I actually think there's a fantastic audio version you could use on your fall walks. But I actually want to draw your attention to another document that Topol released in 2019. And this is the Topol review that was done for the NHS in the UK about preparing the healthcare workforce to deliver the digital future. 2019, very busy year for Eric. So in this report, and I'll tweet it out as soon as I'm done here for folks. In this report, Eric noted that the key determinant of whether the NHS would successfully use AI and robotics to transform healthcare would be the ability of the workforce to harness and realize the potential of AI and robotics. The ability of the workforce, all of us. And he went on to identify the need for workforce learning in 3 key areas. Number 1, knowledge and skills in data provenance, curation, and governance. Knowledge and understanding of the ethical considerations in using data-driven and robotic technologies for healthcare. And really empowering a workforce and future practitioners to be able to critically appraise digital healthcare technologies. In order to do that, Topol said, we all need an understanding of how technology works, including the statistics underpinning machine learning, its outputs, and its potential biases. These knowledge and skills, he said, are essential for the whole NHS workforce. They're also not currently present in the whole NHS workforce, nor I would suggest are they present in a Canadian healthcare workforce. Topol also in this report has an extremely great discussion about the critical importance of patient partnership in the advancement of AI and robotics in the transformation of healthcare. And I would suggest to you that nurses, should we prepare ourselves appropriately, will be ideally positioned to help facilitate that patient collaboration. Halfway through, just checking in, got data and ethics left. AI may be actualized through program outputs and devices, but it is driven by data. Nurses are creators of data. We are curators of data, critical analyzers of data. But how well are we represented in data? Or are patients represented? Many of you will be familiar with the many years of work done by the group under the name National Nursing Data Standards. In fact, they are, I think, one of 4 sessions through their 2020 symposium, which is being delivered through our platform at the Canadian Nursing Informatics Association. If you're interested, either you're a long-standing promoter, passionate about nursing data standards, or this is new to you, I really encourage you to come along to the CNIA website and check out this symposium, because if we cannot standardize nursing data, if we cannot correct the underrepresentation of nursing in electronic health record data and other data that is being standardized, and then that data becomes the big data that drives AI healthcare technologies, tell me where nursing will be. All right, last but certainly not least, ethics. I wrote a piece on AI nursing and ethics in 2018, and Kate Crawford gave it a quick retweet. Kate's from the AI Now Institute, an ethics institute at NYU. And I have to just have everyone join me in the realization that the ethics of AI is an incredibly huge issue, but not just for us as nurses, just for all of us as humans in a world that is currently facing an AI evolution. So there are many, many institutes and programs around the world focused on AI. And I'd like to say since 2018, when Kate noted that a lot of the focus on AI ethical discussion was on doctors, that so many more nurses have flooded the space. And we're all talking about AI and ethics in healthcare, or in particular as it relates to nursing, but that's actually kind of not where we're at. So if this is something of interest to you, I encourage you to add your voice to this debate. You can learn more at the AI Now Institute. You can learn more at CFAR, which leads the development of the Pan-Canadian AI strategy, including the ethical focus. Canada, of course, becoming quite famous for the Montreal Declaration for the Responsible Development of Artificial Intelligence. A lot of work being done around the world, including by the World Health Organization, on the critical moment of reflection that is needed about ethics and artificial intelligence as we move this technology forward. All right. Also, some amazing women working in this field. We missed all these summer book chats, but these books themselves, well worth either adding to your holiday wish list, your winter reading list. Artificial Unintelligence, Algorithms of Oppression on my nightstand right now. Or you can start with a personal favorite of mine, Weapons of Math Destruction, How Big Data Increases Inequality and Threatens Democracy by Kathy O'Neill. Because I cannot say it enough, it's all about the data. And we don't have time today. It's probably a whole other session for me to get up on my soapbox about compassionate data. And maybe we'll have an opportunity to do that because it's a really important conversation. But right now, it's go time. There are numerous recommendations in the report, and as noted in the executive summary, 8 to guide immediate action. Number 1 being this opportunity to create forums for open dialogue, to raise awareness about the nursing AI interface. And I'm going to give us a check mark. I mean, we can't be one and done here, folks. It's not like we can never talk about this again, but I'm going to give us some credit for being here today and for having this critically important conversation. Now, when you're thinking about your personal action moment, I'm going to say there's a recommendation here for everyone. Whether you're interested in evidence-based best practice, whether you are a policymaker, a imagineer of care delivery models, thinking about responsibilities and competencies, whether like me, you're excited for the opportunity to really see nursing curricula embrace the critical importance of digital health, including AI, and give nursing students the foundation they need to step into their futures. Maybe you're a strategic planner. Goodness knows we're going to need some of that as we try, even as Topol indicated in his report for the NHS, how we create capacity for informatics skills, data, digital literacy in the existing and future nursing workforce. You may be someone who realized that when we get to 2030, the changes that AI and these kinds of technologies have brought to healthcare are going to need to be reflected in our professional codes of ethics and in our standard practice. Maybe you're a researcher, as I am as well, and you are ready to jump in with more multidisciplinary research, really promoting co-design, development, ensuring and being able to evaluate the impact of artificially intelligent healthcare technologies in nursing. Or, and I love that this is the 8th in the executive summary. Remember, there's other recommendations in the report as well. So really there's something for all of us. But together and underlying all of it is the critical importance of exploring the impact of this technology on all of us, on nurses, patients, families, and caregivers, and always coming back to how the continued evolution of this technology impacts perception of the delivery of compassionate care. So as far as actions for us today, let me encourage all of us to start by stepping out of line, if for no other reason than to improve our view of what's coming, and hopefully to seek out information, professional development opportunities to better prepare for the moments where we are going to need to speak out, to advocate that others also be able to learn and engage in this area, to promote the need for further AI advances to be done in collaboration with nurses and patients, and to clearly articulate that evolving compassionate care in an AI-powered healthcare system requires nursing expertise and direction. But nurses, we have to be ready too. If we are committed to compassionate care, then we have to position ourselves with new knowledge and competencies, with an understanding that while the technicalities of artificial intelligence are indeed complex, the drivers of it are much more familiar. Digital health literacy, data literacy, machine learning, these key concepts are our roadmap to being informed advocates for this technology. And although not all nurses may have had the opportunity to realize it, this journey has already begun. But we have a moment here where decisive and bold action can still influence our direction, with 15 guideposts in this report to help us find our way. Let's step forward together today. Thanks so much, folks.
Thanks, Tracy. That was a fantastic, stimulating, thought-provoking presentation. And we have lots of questions as well. That was fantastic. Now, unfortunately, we can probably only take one question. So we're going to take the first question that was posted in the chat, which is from Maureen Caver. And she asked, what suggestions do you have for increasing the knowledge and skills of our nursing workforce, given the lack of nurses who have these competencies?
That is just such a critical question. It's the key question, isn't it? So important for us to be able to, first of all, advocate for this, right? If you're on in any way associated with nursing education, professional development, planning within your nursing associations, right? You're here today, you're taking that step. Now, can you expand, right, those opportunities? Where are you involved somewhere that you can speak up and say, hey, you know what we should really do? We should have a session on artificial intelligence and nursing and compassionate care, right? It's just about standing up in those moments and saying, this is something we need to talk about. Start a conversation with your peers, no matter where you practice. Find out, what do people know about this? What do they want to know about this? What are their fears? What are they interested in? Hop onto Twitter, we're going to keep nursing and AI going, I think. Great hashtag, great ability for us to connect on social media. Understand that there's been some great research and Canadian work on this, that this report is a really strong foundation for discussion, and that we need to move forward together, and we need to keep bringing this topic up and up and up until we all have the opportunities. I mean, when you break down the actual learning, it is pretty straightforward. It's just, do we talk about the need to do it, and then do we follow through with that?
Thanks, Tracy. Unfortunately, that's all we have for this session. We have so many more questions in the chat, and I want you to carry those sessions forward because we've got lots of sessions for the remainder of our symposium. You'll have lots of opportunities to ask those questions again and get answers. So at this time, I'm going to invite everyone to switch over to the concurrent session of their choice. We've got 3 sessions, as I said earlier. We've got one on nurse-led research and co-design, one on AI and nursing practice, and the other on AI and nursing education. I have put the links for each of those sessions in the chat, so you can click on those links and take yourself over to the next session. If you somehow get disconnected, you will also be able to access those links in the confirmation email that was sent to you earlier. So enjoy your session, and then we will see you back here in about 50 minutes to 1 hour, something like that. But enjoy your session. We'll see you again shortly.